my dad asked me, he was like, are you going to introduce yourself again? I was like, Dad, they already know me. Like, I was here yesterday. And so, but yeah, my best friend's here. Do you remember the story I told you yesterday in Costa Rica? That's the best friend that was with that almost drowned. That was us. And so, today I'm going to be speaking on purpose. If y'all could get y'all's notes and Bibles out at this time. The title is Breaking Through the Wall. And that's what I'm going to be touching on today. I'll wait because this is a really good quote, so I want y'all to be ready to write this down. Okay. Lisa Bavair, she says, it'd be tragic if the treasure and talent within you was buried under the opinions and expectations of strangers. It'd be tragic if the treasure and talent within you was buried under the opinions and expectations of strangers. Lisa Bavair says that. Guys, God knows the plans He has for you, and they are to develop you in wholeness. His plans are for your good and not for your harm. Today we need to courageously face who we are in Christ. Okay, so y'all know how I'm at Christ for the Nations now, and I'm going to school here. It's my first semester. Well, the story I'm telling you was my first semester. Now it's my fourth semester, but it was my first semester, and I didn't have a job at the time, and so the Lord was like, "Why don't you be a nanny?" Okay, Lord. So I started working as a nanny, and I have these cute little boys. They were so precious. I got paid pretty well. I was just blessed. The job was perfect for me. I enjoyed it. The semester is ending, and I've only had this nanny job for about a month. So Wyatt Finn, the student ministry that was in, calls me one day, and they're like, "Hey, would you like to come in for an interview or for our project manager job?" And I'm like, okay. So I go in and I interview for this project manager job. I don't really think anything much of it. I'm a first semester. They usually hire third years. I don't think I'm going to get it. So I go in there and literally act like myself, like not professional. Like sitting there like, yeah, I'm a pretty good leader. I've done youth my whole life. Like I was joking the whole time. Like I wasn't being that serious. I was pretty comfortable. And then afterwards I was like, maybe I should have took that interview a little bit more serious. Mia was like, did it go good? I was like, yeah, it went well. And I get, not even like an hour later, they call me back and they're like, hey, will you come in for a second interview with Pastor Chris? And I was like, oh, this is serious. And so I go in for the second interview the next day, and I am shaking. When I get nervous, my ears turn like super red. And so I was like, I need ice cubes. And so I'm like super red, and I'm like, and so nervous, and now I have to say the questions right. I have to answer the questions like with confidence and with discernment, and just say the right things because I can't miss this. And so I'm in the interview, and he's like, so what are your weaknesses? And I'm like, I don't got weaknesses. He's like, what are your strengths? And I'm like, well, I'm really good with people. I love to talk. I'm a natural leader. I like to encourage people. And he's like, okay, what do you do right now? And I'm like, I'm a nanny. And he's like, because I had to fill out a packet. And he was like, you're a nanny, you can do all these things. He was like, you have way too much potential to be just a nanny. And I was like, whoa, you're right. And so I am done with the interview. He gives me a hug, made me feel comfortable towards the end of it. And I go home, and during all of this, I don't tell my parents, because I don't think I'm going to get it, so I'm like, don't tell my parents I have an interview, don't tell my parents that I've been speaking to Pastor Chris and Pastor Micah and the leadership over Wyatt Finn. And I go home, and I'm like crying, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Jesus, like, is this really what you want me to do? And I'm terrified to talk to the nanny mom, because she told me that if I nanny for her, I have to have a 3-year commitment. And so I'm terrified, I'm scared. I'm like, oh Jesus, is this really what you want? Because I already committed, and then I'll get in trouble with her, and then maybe my parents, because they're still my parents. And so I'm scared, I'm terrified. And they call me the next day, and they're like, hey, Emily, you got it. And I was like, what? I'm the first semester. And they're like, no, you got the job. You have a 3-year scholarship. You don't have to pay school here anymore. You're a project manager here in YFN. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh. So I immediately started crying. My best friend's crying. We're like in the parking lot, and I'm like, oh, Jesus is so good. You know how it goes with me, crying all the time. And so I waited all day to tell my parents because I don't know, I was just like, man, it didn't set in yet. Because it's still that thought, why me, God? Out of all the people you could have chosen, why me? Why are you continuing to bless me when there's so many people out here that you could bless? There were so many people qualified for that position. I wasn't the only person interviewed. There were so many people who could have got that position, but the Lord chose me and allowed me to interview and just the questions and how the process of it all. And so later that night, my mom, did I call you or did you call me? I called her. And so I call her and I'm like, hey Mom. And she's like, hi. And she's talking, we're both talkers when we're together. And so she's talking, and she starts to cry. And she's like, Emily, I don't know how I'm gonna pay for your next semester. We don't have the finances for it. I start crying, and I'm like, Mom, you're never gonna believe what happened. And she's like, what? And so I tell her the story from the beginning, and I say, I got the interview for the project manager of YFN. Didn't think I was gonna get it on the first semester. Tell her this whole process. And I said, I have a 3-year scholarship, full paid for, the rest of my time here at Christ for the Nations. And she starts to cry. She said, Emily, I prayed last night that the Lord was going to provide. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but I knew He was going to because we serve a faithful Father. We serve a faithful God, amen? And so I said, it took the Lord 12 hours to answer your prayer. Dang, Jesus, like that was 12 hours that my mom prayed for, and it was answered within 12 hours. So don't think that your calling and the things that the Lord has for your life isn't worth a prayer, isn't worth your time, isn't worth the sacrifices, because the Lord calls us to greater. He calls us to more. He has a purpose for every single one of your lives. He has a purpose not just for the little things in your life, but the little, like this job, I love it. I'll tell y'all more about my story later, but it was like when I was there, like in it, I was like, I know this is going to help me in my ministry. I know this is going to help me in my walk with Christ. It might be little, it might be small, but it doesn't matter because I know this is going to get me to where the Lord wants me to be in the future. Amen? And so, Proverbs 19:21 says, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. In Joshua 1:9, it says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not fear, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. That was Joshua 1:9. In this verse, the Lord is giving Joshua courage. He's giving him strength. Joshua is scared out of his mind. He's like, I'm scared, I can't do this. I don't know, Lord, like why you're calling me to be the person to lead these people. Like, no. And the Lord is like, have I not called you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not fear, for I know the plans that I have for your life. And so, if we cling to that, because like I talked about yesterday, we might be scared and we don't know where we're going to go in this life. I don't know. At least, I don't know if y'all think the same thing, but I know if I continue to trust in my Father, I know if I continue to believe in His plans, that they're greater than my plans, that I will be successful, that I will succeed, that His word will prevail in my life. And so, you must have courage through it all because He is with you, you guys. So that was number one, the courage. That was the first point. The second point is fear. The definition of fear is to oppress, to cover completely, to crush, to overpower. Notice that this definition is actual characteristics of darkness. To oppress, to cling. And the Lord reminds us in Joshua 1:9 to not fear, to be of good courage. But sometimes we can still slip up. Sometimes we can still fear, and sometimes we continue to be scared of what the future might hold. Sometimes we continue to be fearful of what the circumstance might have. Later that semester in the summertime, I knew that I was going to be a part of a team called Nations. It's basically a team on YFN that are like the hype squad, if y'all can get what that means. It's a team where we're constantly cheering, constantly yelling, constantly throwing things. My nation for this summer was Sri Lanka. And so basically I had to come up with cheers, I had to come with ideas to make my kids involved and cheer and pray for the nation. And even though I had a leadership spot on YFN, I was still scared of leading these kids in the summer. I was like, Lord, I know you called me to be a leader over YFN. I was executive staff at the time. I was terrified. I was like, I am 18 years old. I'm 19, by the way, right now. I am 18 years old, and I cannot lead 80 kids. What? And so, basically, my dad makes fun, I say basically a lot. And so, I am leading these 80 kids, and I'm terrified, you guys. I don't think I have the strength to do it. I don't think I have the tools to do it, which is crazy because the Lord literally told us, I give you the tools every day to do the plans and walk in His purpose. But I literally thought in my mind, I don't have the ability, the capability to do this. I already have too much on my plate with being project manager. Which is like, yeah, I did, but sometimes the Lord gives us so much stuff to do because He says you do have the power and the strength to do it. I wouldn't have called anyone else if I thought you couldn't do it. I choose you. And so when He gave me this position to do this team, I was like, okay. So I prayed into it. I would wake up early in the morning, like 5:30 sometimes, and I would just wake up and go to the living room and read my Bible and pray over Sri Lanka and pray over the nation and pray over my kids. And then I would go back to bed and then wake up for school, or sometimes I would literally be praying in my sleep because it was just going through my mind so much. Like I would wake up and I could hear Mia, amen. Because I was literally praying in my sleep. Like that's how focused I was on what the task was ahead of me. I was so focused on what I had to be praying into, fasting into, looking into for what I was going to be doing in the summer. And so basically, I started praying and fasting because I didn't want to be fearful. Guys, fear is not of God. Fear is not something that the Lord gives us. It's something that He gives us the authority to speak against. He gives us the authority to rebuke fear and have the courage to face what it is that is giving us fear. And so that's what I literally started doing. I started calling out the fear that would scare me. Lord, I'm afraid of being a leader. I am afraid to take on the task. I am afraid of leading these kids. I'm afraid of talking. I was afraid of praying in front of them. I was afraid they were going to judge me. I was afraid that they were going to think that I was too small because I'm 4'11", and they were going to be bigger than me. I was afraid that they were going to, I don't know, I was afraid. I was terrified. And so for me to say this, and some people were like, you were scared? You? Yeah. I was terrified. I was scared. And I know now that wasn't of God, that was literally the devil saying, you're scared. And his oppressiveness was over me. He was clinging to me, the definition of fear. He was making me so scared that I would literally just think about fear. And so when I finally got to the realization that I needed to talk to somebody, I talked to my leaders, and I said, I'm terrified to face the summer. And they said, okay, let's pray. I was like, I've been praying. It's not working. I'm still scared. And they're like, so you're declaring that you don't want to be afraid more, and you're asking God to give you courage, but are you believing it? And I was like, oh, no. And so I started to believe that I could face the summer. I started to believe that I could be the leader for these kids. I started to believe that greater is He that was in me than he who was in this world. I started to believe that the Lord was inside of me, and that if He's inside of me, then I can face anything that the devil tries to come at me with. And so when y'all allow the Lord, when y'all start to believe, not just, okay, believe in what the Lord is doing in your life, you're going to be able to face your fears. You're going to be able to face the darkness and the lies that the enemy tries to come at you with. So, right now, not yet. Okay, so, let me conclude. But what I want to hit on is God is always going to meet you at your circumstance, no matter where you're at. God is always going to meet you at the time when you think that you can't, that you're at your end, and the Lord's saying, I'll meet you there. You say you can't face it no more, that you can't handle any more, that the lies and just your brain literally can't handle it. You're so done. You're so fed up. You're scared, and you think you can't face it anymore. God will always meet you at your circumstance, you guys. He will always come to you. He's let's say you're scared, you're crying in the middle of the night, you don't know what to do. He's literally like waiting there, like, call on me. Call on me, I'm here. Call on me, I'm here. I'm waiting for you to say my name. I'm waiting for you to worship. I'm waiting for you to just say Jesus so that I can meet you in your circumstance. And so, if you're afraid to face what the future is holding, I know I prayed with you, some of you last night, and most of it was fear. A lot of y'all had fear to go up to a person in school, to go up to and face what college you were going to pick. If you still didn't have a time to go last night to the altar and ask God to forgive you or ask God for forgiveness, I want this time to just be of reflection and of what the Lord has called you to be, to come up and say, Lord, I'm still afraid. But I know the plans that you have for my life are better. I know the plans that you have for my life are going to allow me to have courage and boldness and strength. You know that some of the other two definitions for courage is boldness and bravery? In order to have courage, you have to have boldness and bravery too. I led prayer the other day at my school, and the topic was over boldness and bravery. And some of the facts that I touched on was, you can have boldness in your school to go up to kids, but there's a difference between boldness and boastfulness. There's a difference of knowing who you are in Christ and walking in confidence, and there's a difference between knowing who you are in Christ and having that discernment of people. You could go up to a person and pray for them, but was it in boastfulness or was it in boldness? And so, I want y'all to come up here in a little bit, and we're going to pray for you. I'm going to ask my mom and Mia to come up and just lay down what you're afraid of. Lay down and but tell God what you're afraid of, because the moment you proclaim it and you start confessing what it is, there's healing and restoration in that. And so, if y'all could all stand with me. And we're going to go ahead and pray. And I don't want this to be a time of staring at people or laughing at someone or thinking, why didn't you go last night to go pray? You had your moment. Right now is the time to face the fears that you haven't been able to face all along. Right now is the time to ask God for forgiveness for things that you were still holding on to. You might have been a Christian your whole entire life, but something has stopped you. There's been a wall that has caused you to have fear and has left you stranded because you don't think you can face what's coming up next. So if you want prayer and the Lord is, you want to tell the Lord, Lord, I'm afraid of this. If you need healing tonight, any kind of sickness, your bones are hurting, your shoulders hurting, you woke up with a sore back and you want healing, the Lord can heal you right now. There's healing in the name of Jesus. The moment we ask for healing, you're healed. So if you believe that with me tonight, would you go ahead and come up to the altar? Y'all can come up right here in the front, Mom and Leanne. Y'all can stand right here in the front. And I'm going to come to you. I'm going to come pray for you too, not just them two. But if you need prayer, please come up. And we have ladies here who are want to pray for you. They want to speak to you. Like right here, there's some girls over here. Brenda, if you can come up and pray for some girls. Any leaders, if y'all want to pray for these girls?